Hello, Nova Nation. It's WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski here in our WXVU studio. It is cold outside, but feels like December. College basketball really heating up. Conference play coming up in a couple weeks. And Villanova men's basketball is going to have a tough challenge tonight against Michigan in Ann Arbor. The Wildcats overall 7-1, coming off of a Philly Big Five Classic Championship win against Penn on Saturday at Xfinity Mobile Arena. Coach Willard's Cats have won 7 consecutive games, but Michigan is right now ranked as a second team in the top 25 AP poll. So, but really, when you look at the way that Michigan has played over the last couple weeks, this is really the hottest team in the country. Really tough test for Villanova tonight in Ann Arbor on the road. Again, Villanova's won 7 consecutive games. Duke Brennan coming off a double-double performance. He was named the MVP in the Philly Big Five Classic Championship win against Penn. But this is going to be the toughest game that Villanova has played yet this season. Toughest game since BYU. And honestly, this game against the Wolverines is probably going to be the toughest game that Villanova will play the rest of the season, truly against one of the best teams in college basketball, especially throughout this early portion of the non-conference schedule. Michigan overall this season is 8-0, undefeated so far in the first 8 games, and this team has played a really tough schedule. Already 3 quad 1 wins, including 2 big wins against Auburn and Gonzaga in the Players Era Festival. That was at a neutral site, and they not only beat Auburn and Gonzaga, they beat both of those teams by at least 30 points. So this Michigan team has had blowout wins. In fact, the offense for Michigan is just simply sensational. They average around 95 points per game. They've scored at least 100 points in the last 3 contests, have the Wolverines. So this offense is really, really good. And Michigan opened up conference play the other day against Rutgers, scored more than 100 points again. It was an easy win by about 40 points. So Michigan just playing some really good basketball. The leading scorer is Yaxel Lendenborg. He's averaging around 16 points per game, also around 7 rebounds per contest. He's a transfer from UAB as a forward. And they also have another really good forward in Morez Johnson Jr. He's averaging around 15 points a game as well, and doing a pretty good job rebounding the basketball as well. So this is going to be a really tough test for Duke Brennan as well. I mean, just because, he's been, the nation's leading rebounder, but these forwards that Michigan has are really, really good. As a team, like I said, they average around 95 points per game. They shoot 53% from the field, one of the best field goal offenses in the country, and they also shoot 37% from behind the arc. And then, I've talked about how good the offense is. Defensively, they're also really, really good. They only give about 66 points per game. They held Gonzaga and Auburn. Their offense is fairly quiet. They have one of the best 3-point defenses, field goal defenses in the entire country. They only allow their opponents to convert at about 30% from behind the arc. They really do an excellent job defensively to force turnovers as well. Rebounding, they average around 45 rebounds per contest. Really the only area of weakness for this Michigan team, and it's really not even a weakness, is kind of the turnovers. They will commit about 13, 14 turnovers per game, but they do an excellent job at scoring the basketball. They're a great rebounding team. The defense is probably the biggest strength for this Michigan team, just when you look at the teams that they've played and the way that their defense has been able to really hold down opponents. So this is going to be a really tough game, as I said throughout this preview video, for Villanova tonight. But the Wildcats are kind of playing with house money, right? To kind of see, evaluate where they are in the season, see, how good they really are, right? Villanova, as I said, the non-conference schedule has been fairly easy. Villanova's played a lot of opponents around, the area. They've stayed fairly close to home. Coach Willard talked about that the other night. So this is a big test. Villanova is about 16-point favorites, 16-point underdogs tonight. Michigan is 16-point favorites, depending on where you look. So Villanova obviously playing with house money. They could find a way to pull out this big upset. It would be a crazy win. But Villanova, I think the main goal is just to try to stay competitive against this Michigan team. Like I said, that is the hottest team in college basketball right now. Tonight's game will begin at 6:30 p.m. In Michigan. One of any WXVU coverage will have coverage on my social media, as always. Thanks for tuning into this preview video. Villanova versus Michigan. The Wildcats' main goal, try to stay competitive tonight. Really, Villanova, I think the biggest key to this game is just defensively for the Wildcats. They have to keep this Michigan offense, somehow find a way to try to limit them and keep them below 100 points, which they haven't done in the last 3 games. It should be a fun one tonight in Michigan. Thanks for tuning in to this preview video. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cats!